finally got another book of NetGalley, and I learned something vital for the whole process. Always check the page count. Hi folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat, and today I would like to talk about Spirit Side by Ross Hightower. It comes out on the 15th of September, and I will leave all of the links below, but I got it from NetGalley in return for a review. Since it's not out yet, or will be out very soon, I will keep all of the spoilers to myself. It's going to be difficult because boy do I like putting spoilers in reviews, but I will try to keep them to myself. You would think after doing this for a while I wouldn't forget things like a summary, but here we are. So you get to look at pictures of Cleo from when she was sick, and the fox that visited our garden for a while I'll tell you what this book is actually about. Minna lives in a small village on the outskirts of an empire and is a bit of an outcast because she can see spirits. Usually the Inquisition turns up to collect witches and put them to death, but because she is so far out, Minna is still fine. She's not particularly happy though, because people in the village, bar a couple of people, treat her like she's a devil. But when her sister gains the same ability, Minna promises her to always be around and protect her. Soon after, the Inquisition turns up in the village and arrests Alyn for witchcraft. Minna sets out to save her sister, and on the way she has to evade the Inquisition and learn quite a few things about herself and her family that she didn't know before. We also get to see a bit more about the political intrigue in other POVs. You have people from the Sadie, the Inquisition, and just a range of other people in this as well. I picked this up because the description sounded interesting to me. Although the cover gave me self-published vibes, it's not self-published, but the cover still looks like it to me, and I'm afraid so does the editing. This book is 850 pages long almost, and that is just too much for the first book from any author. So if you've already made your name, say you're Stephen King, then you can put out something that has 2,000 pages and nobody is going to complain. Well, no publisher is going to complain. Or if you're writing the 14th part of The Wheel of Time, then you can put something out that has this many pages. That's fine. But as your first work, this could have easily been split into two. I'm not entirely certain where in the story you would have made this cut, but page count wise this could have easily been split into two or edited down quite a bit. I felt like there were quite a few characters that could have possibly been combined or cut all together to condense the story a bit. So I'm not a slow reader, but those length and page count conventions in publishing are there for a reason, because I was looking at my progress bar on my Kindle at points and I was like, some parts of this book drag a bit at points, but not all that badly either. I was like, if the book is not dragging this much, how am I not making any progress? And yeah, it's because we're looking at almost 850 pages. The big number of characters would have been less of an issue, I think, if the voices in their POV chapters would have been more distinct. The only time I really noticed a difference between all of the characters was for the first few chapters you get from Alyn's view. And she's only 8 years old, but the prose sounds a bit more purple and more sophisticated than, say, for her older sister. And because she's only 8 years old, it seems a bit odd. If she were an incredibly well-educated or sophisticated character, but she's not, she can't even read, and as far as I can tell, she only gets the most basic education at home, so the diction didn't really fit the character. But I also only noticed this in the first few chapters you get from her point of view. And then there is very little difference between the characters. Alyn is also the most mature 8-year-old I've ever encountered or read about, because from her behavior I would have placed her at least as a teenager. That being said, I was a bit confused about the age of certain characters. You get actual numbers for Minna, Alyn, Jason. You know how old they are, at least at the very beginning. But then there are other characters where you get told, okay, they have done this and that in their life, and they've been to the front, they fought in the war, and now they're back. And there are two characters towards the end that start dating, where I was seriously confused because I thought one of them was easily 20 or older and the other one was at best 15, and just like, no, can you not? But because none of the other characters bats an eye at those two getting together, I have to assume that the one I thought was well over 20 is at absolute best 18. What adds to the impression that this might be self-published is that a few mistakes were left in the book. I altered this bit so it doesn't give anything of the actual story away, but she didn't see B, but when B did X, A's head snapped in B's direction and strode where the dog met the key. So her head was striding somewhere in this, so, you know, those are things where I thought an editor would pick them up maybe. A certain side character's name shows up twice, and the first guy with the name dies, and then this name pops up again, and you're like, oh no, different one. I mean, okay, I guess it's a common name in this world then. But you know, while you're writing the story, and if it doesn't serve a purpose, then you might as well give your character other names. The book deals with religious fanatism and racism quite a bit, but I'm still unclear on how people can tell the ethnicity of certain characters with just one look. Because a lot of people are described as pale, and hair colors don't seem to be very specific, although more redheads seem to be in the group that encounters racism. But at some points in the book I got the impression that it was the way they wear their hair and the way they dress that gives them away as belonging to a certain group of people. And as such I was like, well, but if this is so easy to hide yourself within the public, then why would you not do it? Why would you insist on wearing your hair if you're on a mission that requires you to be stealthy? But I don't know. The world building, while intricate and extensive, has still left me with a couple of questions. On the positive side, I thought the magic system with calling spirits to your aid to wield magic at all is quite interesting. Still a couple of questions left for that, but since the main character is only just learning to use this power as well, maybe you will get more of it in the next book. Although I think the author is working on a prequel right this minute, and I think I would be more interested in the next part, but that's just me. One character in particular deals with past choices and struggles with his moral stance, if you will. And I think he was the most interesting character to follow as well. So overall, I think a bit more editing would have done this book a favor, maybe splitting it into two, maybe just cutting chunks out and condensing things. Because the magic system is interesting, and the fight against the religious institution promises to be quite exciting as well. So all in all, I think it deserves this cat. And if you are up for a very long read, then this might be for you. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to help this channel out. And let me know what the longest book is that you've read recently, where it didn't feel like it was that long. I'll be back next week with another video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Bye, folks!